Thou ask and thou shalt receive. Today we are talking about FragPunk and how it has the potential to be the next big thing and why you should definitely try it out. Let's dive right in.
Ever since the smash up, Kepler's gone nuts. But I've got it handled.
FragPunk is a 5v5 hero-based, fast-paced, you'll see why I put it in quotation marks in a bit later, shooter akin to Counter-Strike and Valorant with a slight dash of Call of Duty's weapon handling. The main thing that separates this from its wildly more successful competitors, aside from the amazing art direction, is the card system. What is the card system, I hear you asking? Good question. At the start of every match, you and your team have to use something called shards to buy a specific card or cards that will give you an advantage or your enemies a disadvantage. These can range from giving the enemies big heads for those sick sniper montages to completely swapping attacking and defending sides. The main game mode is called Shard Clash, and it is basically your standard search and destroy game if you played Call of Duty or Counter-Strike or even Siege. One team has a card converter and they have to plant it on site A or site B, while the other team defends the sites. Best out of 4 wins. Simple enough, right? Well, this is the perfect segue that lets me talk about my favorite mechanic of the game, the duels. What are the duels? If you and the enemy team end up tying the score, you enter what's called a duel phase. In that phase, you choose your place in a queue and people go 1v1 until there's only one man left standing. It is, I think, the most fun way to break a tie without going into overtime and having to play additional rounds. But let's say you're sick of Shard Clash and want to try something else. FragPunk's got you covered there too. There's an arcade mode filled with all sorts of wacky game modes that are in the rotation. You have your standard team deathmatch, free-for-all, glue knight grab, which if you played Plunder in Warzone will seem very familiar to you. You take out enemies and collect glue knight they leave behind, and the first team that reaches the limit wins. Remember Infected from COD? Yeah, it's here too, called Outbreak. Infected have only melee weapons and have to infect survivors to win. And through all that, the card system is always present and constantly changing the way the game is played. This is what I love about the game. It didn't just launch with the main game mode hoping it will be enough for the players. They actually added other fun and interesting modes for players to try out and have fun in. Variety, people, variety. Now, moving on to...
Any questions?
The gameplay is solid, if I do say so myself. The gunplay is tight, although it will take some time getting used to. The abilities are good, some cards do feel a bit overpowered, but nothing too severe. In the end, the cards are here to provide disbalance and chaos. That's their main purpose. We actually got get this, a legacy feature in this game called the minimap. That's a wrap, boys. 10 out of 10.
It is a little something for everyone.
However, I do have a few complaints. Something everyone's been complaining about, and what I hinted at in the intro, that is the movement speed. While I understand them wanting to stop bunny hopping from being the most used strategy to win gunfights, even though it's still used, I believe they shouldn't have slowed us down that much. You don't have to bring it back to what it was, but at least increase it a little bit, because it kinda clashes with the fast-paced tag you marketed the game as. Another thing I think needs more emphasis is acknowledging that you got hit. When someone hits you, you only get this tiny red square somewhere on the screen and a slight audio cue. I think a slight camera shake or making the circle bigger would make it much easier to realize you got hit. Maybe the health bar can pulsate a little bit too, giving you a cue that, oh shit, I'm at 20 HP after this gunfight. Cause half the time I'd finish a gunfight, not realize I even got hit, and enter a gunfight with someone at full HP while I'm at a measly 20. And lastly, bots in ranked, come on, get them out. Standard mode, maybe. Ranked, nah, get them out. Ranked is to go toe-to-toe with players your skill level, not bots. Remove bots from ranked, please. Weapons-wise, there are 18 weapons to choose from, ranging from assault rifles, LMGs, SMGs, shotguns, marksman rifles, and sniper rifles. They added a new sniper rifle in the weapons tab from the beta, and increased the number of times you can choose the same weapon class to 2 instead of just 1, and I like that change, because it gives me a chance to make a mistake, and if I die, I can use the weapon I want one more time. When it comes to maps, there are 6 maps in Shard Clash and 13 maps across all game modes. The maps are very similar to CS2 maps. As I said, the games are very similar. It rarely, if ever, has open areas besides the sites, and is mostly long corridors and sightlines. Do I have a problem with that? No. I think the maps are good for the game modes they're used in. Duels have their own smaller maps, which is good because having a duel on such a large map would be a nightmare. On the topic of characters, I will go over them briefly as there's quite a few and I didn't get a chance to fully use all of them and get a sense of what they're like. I might make a separate video in the future covering just the characters. There's 13 Lancers in total, and each of them has their own unique way of contributing to the team. Here's a few of them. We have Broker, the main fragger using the rocket launcher and cherry bombs to either slow down enemy progression or annihilate the enemy itself. Nitro, who has a small drone that can shoot and deal a decent amount of damage, as well as the ability to use deployable cover. On top of that, she has a placeable turret that can stick to any surface, so wall, roof, floor, you name it. Pathogen, a mad scientist who seems to like mushrooms a bit too much if you ask me. She has the ability to summon a wall that can be used to block doorways or create cover, as well as having the ability to throw a healing potion on the ground, as well as poison. And Sonar, who uses her abilities to find and ping where enemies are, and has the ability to dampen footsteps, not voices, so zip it! And I'd just like to ask, please extend the duration of the Sound of Silence ability, but overall she's a good supporting character next to Pathogen. But alright, I sucked the game off long enough and stroked its massive ego. Let's talk about some issues the game has.
Ooh, that's bad.
First thing I noticed when I entered the game, just how complicated and dare I say ugly the UI is. I don't mean the art style, no, that's great. But the amount of tabs and sub-tabs is just, what the fuck? I feel like every time I need to check something specific, I have to navigate a fucking labyrinth of menus, options, and tabs. One person on Reddit even said they didn't even notice the play button because it blended in so well with the art. And I can honestly understand that. Let's look at this screen here. It's green and blue on a purple background. I wouldn't fault you if you thought this was part of the background photo. The only thing that saves it is that it's animated and sort of changes colors over time. If you played the game for a while, you're probably saying I'm nitpicking just to complain, but I can see this being very overwhelming and confusing for newer players, especially if they've never played a game like this. Is it game breaking? No. Is it annoying? Yes. Next item on the agenda is progression. The balance of progression is completely off. I managed to unlock ranked game mode, which is level 30, in about 10 hours of playing. Mind you, I literally played since the game launched. In Siege or any other game, it would take me a week, or if I'm speedrunning, I would say 3 to 4 days. The level progression is way too fast and way too easy. In contrast to the Battle Pass progression, which is too fucking slow. The main way you progress through the pass is through challenges, and those give you big bursts in the pass. You can level up 2 to 3 levels in a few minutes or so. But what happens when you run out of challenges? Well, your progression gets capped at 500 XP, no matter how well you play or what position on the scoreboard you're on. So after I finish all the challenges, you guys understand I can just go AFK and farm the pass because I have no incentive to perform, right? And I hear you screaming, you're playing for fun, have fun, Battle Pass comes second to the fun. And I hear you, I do play for fun. However, I know people who play specifically to grind. So will that person play the game if they have no reason to perform well? I think the Battle Pass progression should be tied to a player's performance in the game, not challenge based. Have challenges, but don't make them the only real way to progress in the pass. And now on to something everyone's been up in arms about. The monetization.
Shut up and take my money!
First, I think it's important to point out that FragPunk is a free game. So when people saw 9 currencies, gacha mechanics, store items, they fucking lost it. And I was also a bit peeved when I saw there are loot boxes on top of purchasable cosmetics. But then I took a step back and tried to look at it from a big picture perspective, because out of context that does sound bad. Like they're gouging you for every cent you have. First, I asked someone who played a lot more Chinese and Asian games in general, like Genshin or other games, about the currency thing. They told me that it's normal for such a game to have a ton of currencies, so I decided to actually look at what currencies does FragPunk have, and came to the conclusion that it only has 3 important currencies, and the rest are either event currencies that aren't here forever, or cosmetic currencies that so far I didn't even know existed. You have your gold, glue knight, and frag coins. Gold used to unlock characters, glue knight used for cosmetic purchases, and frag coins are the premium currency for the store. Well, what about the rest of the predatory monetization schemes? I will admit, in my opinion, character prices are a bit steep. 19k for a character when you earn around 200 to 300 gold per game is maybe a little too much. Maybe cut it in half and make it 10,000. And yes, I am aware Rainbow Six has the same pricing model, but Siege has over 60 characters and all the starter characters are 1,000 each to unlock. This game has 13 characters, 5 are free and the rest are 19,000. Loot boxes are also in the game and they aren't really the worst, given that the game lets you earn the event skins by playing consistently rather than having you spend money on packs to earn them. I will give props to the developers on the battle pass not expiring if you purchase the premium pass. Top notch, guys, thank you. Like, you didn't have to do that, but thank you. You actually let me keep what I paid for. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm genuinely glad they went that route and not the standard AAA route of FOMO farming for money. They also have a membership thing, which actually, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, gives you quite a lot of bang for your buck. It gives you all the characters, gives you the premium pass which you get to keep if the membership expires, as well as if you already activated the pass and then got the membership, they refund you with 900 frag coins, on top of getting frag coins and 1 free loot box a day. You also get bonus XP as a member, which I don't really agree with. I think everyone should earn XP at the same rate, paying or not. So in my opinion, yes, there's a lot of opportunities to spend money in this game, but literally none of it is necessary for you to enjoy it. After all, you're paying for pretty skins. That's all. Only problem I have is the already mentioned XP boost for members and the price of the characters. Change that and we're good.
I'll show you, freaky!
In conclusion, play this game. Okay, thanks, bye. I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, Bad Guitar Studio did an amazing job with this game. The beta was polished, the full release was also clean as I encountered little to no bugs or glitches. And like I said in the video before where I discussed the beta, first thing I noticed in the beta test was the level of polish the beta came with. Like, the game was so clean, if it released right then and there, I would not be mad at all. The game is free. The gameplay is engaging, the art direction's unique. While yes, it has some flaws with the progression, the UI design, I still think it doesn't take away from the fact that this is an amazing shooter that could potentially, and I truly hope, enter the wider competitive scene, hell, even the wider gaming scene. If you're still on the fence about trying it, like I said, the game is free and the only thing you have to lose is time downloading the game. But I'm sure once you start playing, it will be time well spent. So good on you, Bad Guitar Studio. Keep it up. And to you folks watching, stay safe out there.